What's up, everybody? You can barely hear me, but now you can see me. JK, Coach Josh of the Minnesota Mammoth Swines here, bringing you a week one or post week one power rankings video with none other than head coach of the Laughlin Laurantis himself. Please welcome to the show DJ for the first time in a long time.
Hello.
Glad to have you here, DJ. Thanks for jumping on with us tonight as
Glad to be here.
Get this video out. We're just really going to talk about, for those of you who have never seen a power rankings video before, we're just going to talk about what happened this week, go over the games and results from kind of the first week one matchups, and then we'll go into the new power rankings. Just as a refresher, we've got 5 coaches that vote every week on power rankings based on a number of different things. Strength of schedule, how the games went, how people played. There's a lot that goes into it. But it's just kind of like a good, fun little thing that we do each week to kind of recap how things are going and how the season's going. So without further ado, let's jump into our week one results. We had a lot of awesome games this week, and I know there are results and stuff posted in the APDL channel in the Discord, but we're just going to talk about each game and kind of share our thoughts on how things went. DJ, would you care to start us off with the North Dakota Neuverns picking up a close 1-0 victory over Manor Nation?
This was just a brawl of a match. They just had Mons just sent one out and just had it attack till it died. I think the biggest surprise was Meltan getting a kill, and then on Maldo at the end surviving a focus blast from the Electabuzz to take it 1-0.
Definitely, yeah. It came down to the wire. We had a couple of games that were super, super close this week. Great way to start the season off. I think definitely as far as the highlights from that match, you nailed it right on the head. Super cool to see 2 new teams getting some action and playing against each other and starting the year off. Great win for North Dakota, moving to 1-0, and then Manor Nation looking to rebound next week. Next up on the schedule here is the Jamestown Jolteons playing against DJP is how I'm going to abbreviate Harry's team here. Thoughts on the game, Peyton versus Harry, DJ?
Peyton knew right away that he needed to make hazards null and void right away with the Shuckle, and the trick with the Swoobat pretty much shut down all of Harry's game plan, which if sticky webs and rocks stayed up the whole game, it was going to be Harry's game, but he did a good job just executing his game plan and going with it.
Yeah, for sure. I think I would like to see a little bit more from Harry. I think, we saw Runerigus and Koffergigas in this game, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of 2 Mons that play super similarly, and I think that hurts his game plan overall. What do you think about the lineup?
He went with an offensive Runerigus, which during prep, we noticed killed a lot of things if they weren't invested in the bulk, nice. But you definitely needed the stealth rocks up, and I think that was the big thing. Also, Harry's inexperience came into play a couple times trying to toxic the Lapras, like 2 or 3 times in water.
Yeah, and getting that hydration to reset the status is really good on Peyton's part, just kind of being prepared to have his wall stay healthy. So great game. It's great 3-0 victory for the Jamestown Jolteons, moving to 1-0, and then DJP falling to 0-1, moving into week 2. Next up on the schedule was actually your game. I think the longest game this week. The Laughlin Laurantis getting the close 1-0 victory over the Carolina Cherums. Definitely, from my perspective, a great defensive battle between the two of you, playing around threats and making sure that you saved a win condition on both sides until the very last minute. Do you want to kind of talk us through your thought process in that game?
I know the biggest thing he was concerned about was the Lilligant. I ran a sub Lilligant, which probably caught him off guard a little bit. And then the biggest thing was the turn where he Dragon Danced with Altaria, and I sent in Jinx, and I had just enough investment to kill Altaria with an Ice Beam, and I think that's really what swayed the match at the end, because Electivire with his Warlord set wasn't dying to anything, so I think getting that Altaria was what really swayed the battle in my favor.
Yeah, for sure. Just kind of knowing where the from prepping, kind of what that speed tier you needed to hit to outspeed and be able to kill. Really, really solid prep. Really great game. First game for Frozen in the Carolina Cherem. So awesome to see him come into the league and have a really strong showing against UDJ as one of the two-time champions. So great game there.
He also has experience in other leagues. You can't discount him there. His team,
absolutely.
I think he's going to be a huge threat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Against everybody in this league.
Absolutely, and we'll not spoil the power rankings, but Carolina's doing okay even after a close 1 week loss. So definitely more exciting things to come from the Carolina Cherems. Moving next into the inter-conference game for the week, the Blackthorn City Blastoise facing off against the Minnesota Mammothswine. That was me and Noah playing against each other. I talked about it a little bit in my post-game video that I posted. The link's in the YouTube section. If anybody wants to check it out, Noah also posted a recap video. I think I got real lucky winning this game. I definitely played to my outs, but also there was some sloppiness for sure, some rust to break loose. But I think overall it was a super fun game to watch and play. The Charizard being modest instead of timid and having that investment to still be able to kill the Kangaskhan there at the end. Just came down to the wire. Another fun game. What do you think about the game with Blackthorn City and Minnesota, DJ?
You pretty much nailed it on the head. You said it was not as sloppy as you probably think it is, but there was a couple of misplays all around, and you had a couple of huge crits that pretty much sealed the deal about midway through the game. Yeah. And then at the end, that Charizard outspeeding the Adamant Kong really shows how much you take the risk of that extra damage with Adamant over Jolly. And you can see it really play at the end of that game.
Yeah, for sure. Played a huge part. That Kangaskhan hit like a truck, and I was just fast enough at the end to outspeed and be able to pick up the close victory in our first interconference game of the year. Moving into the Division 2 side of the bracket, the Midwestern Warriors and the Montana Milk Tanks, our boy Jackson getting his first career dub in a great 2-0 victory. What did you think about the Warriors versus the Milk Tanks, DJ?
In my notes, I have just one nice little sentence written down for pretty much how this whole first week played off. Triple Axel sure is a fun move, right, guys?
Oh. Oof, rubbing salt in the wound. We saw a couple of games this week where Triple Axel either missing the very first hit or missing all along the way played a difference in the game. And this was definitely one of those key matchups where, if the Sand Slash hits a Triple Axel, maybe something goes drastically different. If not, who knows what happens. But I
love the Sand Slash Ditto at the beginning. It was so fun.
It was super cool to see, and two Pokemon that I've used Alolan Sand Slash on teams in the past. I think it's really cool, but the normal Sand Slash Nut doesn't get a lot of love, and in this format, we see that Ditto right off the bat, and it's cool to see that face off.
Like I said, Jackson prepped well. His team was good. The Rocky Helmet Gigalith sealed it at the
Oh, that
end.
was beautiful. Yeah, definitely the Rocky helmet damage coming in clutch to be able to help seal it. Cool. Not much more to say about that one. Next up is the Edmonton Ice Cubes facing the Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's Sean against Ruben, and that's a 3-0 victory for Edmonton. Sean posted a really quick video today wrapping up his thoughts. DJ, did you get a chance to watch that one?
It did. Nice, quick, concise. Pretty much what it is, yeah. I don't think Ruben played that bad. Not as bad as I first thought about it, but like he just played very predictable, had the predictable team. Wasn't a bad team, but that's what Sean and Lanky Paul's team really goes into, or how he plays. Like if you're predictable, he's always going to have the not so predictable. It was a clean game. I wouldn't say very lopsided, but Lanky Paul did what he had to do.
Definitely. Yeah, I really liked the nasty plot Persian set that he ran. I thought that was having that tankier setup and then going for the nasty plot to boost his special attack. I think that was a really great set and a good way to lead off the game. Just kind of showing that creative side of things, even though it's early in the season. Sean usually starts the season a little rougher, so it's cool to see him get a win in week 1, and we'll see if that can keep propelling him towards the playoffs. It's a long season to go, but it's maybe we're seeing a little bit different thing from Lanky Paul not starting in the dumpster. So that'll be exciting to watch throughout the rest of the season. And like you said, Ruben didn't play bad by any means. He did take a season off, so there might be a little bit of rust in that competitive battling, getting back thing. And we've definitely seen him be a contender in seasons past, so I'm excited to see what he does in week 2.
Oh yeah, he always has fun teams moving on.
For sure. Next up, well, I guess last up, is our most lopsided game of the week.
Yeah.
The Lottie Daddies getting a 5-0 victory over the Kalamazoo Raichu. DJ, do you want to break this near 6-0 down for us?
What can one say about this? Scyther, he hits hard, hits like a truck. I scrimmed with him, and he first had EVO Light on it. I was just like, you should just run Choice Band. In this format, it'll just clean house, and, well, we see that pretty clearly and decisively in this game.
Definitely. Another game where a triple axle miss played a big part, but also, like you said, that Scyther with the Choice Band just wrecking shop and kind of just clearing through Garrett's team. You play this game again 100 different times, and I'm sure we'd see a lot of different variations, but definitely great prep on Quincy's side. And the Lottie Daddies definitely are a team to watch early on, and we'll get into power rankings here in a second, but they're definitely a strong showing from week 1, and I think Garrett will bounce back pretty quickly.
He'll bounce back. He's probably busy, probably having other stuff on his plate, not prepping as well anymore, but he'll come back when it matters most.
Definitely. And with that's a weekly recap. I think it was a great first week of games. I'm excited to see how things go into week 2 and some of the matchups that we have coming up. But before we make this video too terribly long, let's get into power rankings for the week. So as far as the rankings go for week 1, now that week 1 is over, we'll have the teams in reverse order. So we'll start at 14 and work our way back to 1. We'll have their spot in the power rankings, and then also the change from last week to this week. So in 14th place, and starting us off this week, not moving anywhere, but still a long season left to go, is Dylan, James Potter, and Harry.
Thank you.
Yes. And anything, we kind of talked about it in the game recap. So, we've kind of mentioned that Harry, we'd like to see a little bit of diversity from him, a little bit little shaking it up and not really just playing the same couple of mons every week. But what do you have to say? Anything else to add as far as DJP?
Made that trade with Noah. I don't know how much that's going to matter, but he'll take a game or two. He'll take a game or two from people we least expect it, and that's the problem. It'll change the rankings up
For
when
sure.
he takes that game.
Yeah. I definitely think Harry is somebody that like we've seen in the past just like come out and be a monster in some weeks, and I think when he has time to prepare and sit down and actually put a good lineup together, I think he's super scary. You mentioned the trade with Noah. He picked up Magneton for Flareon. So I think that's definitely an interesting move for both teams. Traded with Blackthorn City. And I think Magneton's an awesome Pokemon, and we'll have to wait and see if it helps him out in week 2.
Yep, it'll be nice for him having a special attacker instead of a physical one moving forward.
Yeah, helping out with a little bit of balance in the physical special department. Moving into our 13th spot, unfortunately dropping 2 spots this week, is Tyrannosaurus Rex and Ruben. Like we said, I don't think Ruben played necessarily all that bad. This week is tough because we're really judging every team off of just one game, not necessarily a body of work. So if you lost a game, you're probably going to slide back a little bit or kind of shuffle around in the bottom half of the lineup. But definitely, like we said, Ruben's going to get better, going to adapt, and he'll be dangerous moving forward.
Nailed it on the head. He's going to have some good teams.
Yeah.
He just nailed it on the head, yeah.
For sure. DJ, why don't you talk about our next slot? Also dropping down 2 this week, the Montana Miltanks in the 12th spot.
They're going to be scary moving forward. He's been prepping very well. Or I should say, last week he prepped very well. Just a couple unlucky misses, but he's going to be something you're going to have to watch out for. If Blastoise ain't prepared this week, then maybe we might have an upset there with them dropping 0-2, but you never know.
For sure. Definitely a game to watch. In our next position, actually moving up 2 from last week, is Manor Nation. And this is actually my week 2 opponent, and I can say for sure that prep has been difficult in a couple of different ways. It's a team that's got a lot of attackers, not a lot of defense, but it's definitely a scary team top to bottom when you look at the possible threats and where they can come from. I think every team in this format is going to have something spooky, and even with a loss, moving up a couple slots and being in that 11th position, I'm excited to play these guys on tomorrow night, actually.
It'll be a fun game to watch, that's for sure. He's taking it and just running with it and having fun with it, and those are some of the scariest people you can have playing again.
Absolutely. Somebody who's not afraid to do something weird and out of the box, and maybe catch some teams off guard. Next up in the lineup, and kind of our top 10, unfortunately our biggest mover this week, losing 5 spots, is the Kalamazoo Raichu. Any thoughts here about Garrett and his crew?
Not much. He'll bounce back. Rough week. Just got to learn from it and move on, really. That's all you can do.
For sure. Yeah, and I think, you talked about Garrett not having as much time as he has in previous seasons. I think he started school up again, too, so definitely some things in play maybe for week 1, but I know he'll be hungry to come back and play his week 2 game and maybe turn things around and get back to 500. Up next and moving up 3 in the power rankings is the Midwestern Warriors, and I just have to say it is so great to see Jackson get his first win. This is somebody who I think he's improved every single season he's played. And I think, there's definitely potential for him to keep on moving in Season 4 here, getting up a couple more wins. Kind of, like we talked about with Harry, has a chance to be a spoiler, if not a playoff contender. Maybe coming in and catching somebody off guard, taking a win here or there, and could end up ruining somebody's season if you're not careful.
Yeah, that's exactly it. His teams are just getting better and better, and he's definitely learning how to maneuver better every game.
Mm-hmm. Next up in our 8th position, moving up one from last week, is the North Dakota Neuverns. A great first week win against Manor Nation. We talked about it in kind of like the game recap. This was a slugfest all the way down to the wire. And I'm excited to see kind of what they do next week. Their week 2 opponent is they're playing the Jamestown Jolteons. So that's 2 teams that got wins in week 1 squaring off against each other, and I'm excited to see kind of how that match plays out.
Yeah, I believe somehow our schedule lined up to like everyone who won a game's playing against each other, and everyone who lost a game is playing against each other.
Yeah, I think the only exception is me and Manor Nation, and that was because we were I was the non-conference game last week. So there's more wins on Division 1 side versus Division 2 side. That's how that leveled out. But you're right, yeah, everybody that lost gets to play somebody that lost, and everybody that won is playing, other guys that won. So this will be a fun week to watch.
It'll be an exciting week, that's for sure.
For sure. Next up, not going anywhere in the power rankings this week, staying at that 7th position, is the Carolina Cheroms. Anything else to add about Frozen and his team?
He's only just going to get better once he learns our play styles. He probably has the most experience out of us, and he's going to be scary moving on if you're not prepared.
Definitely. In 6th position this week, losing 4 slots, unfortunately, is the Blackthorn City Blastoise. I think Noah drops down 4 slots because it was 2 top 3 teams playing against each other. And, unfortunately, one of us had to lose. Noah's been cranking away with some roster changes, made a trade we talked about a little bit. He's made a free agency drop.
I think he's made 2 free agent drops too.
Yeah, so he's tweaking that roster already super early in the season, which he's kind of done before, and kind of making some adjustments already. So it'll be interesting to see kind of him moving into next week. Plays against the Montana Miltanks this week, so I think a good opportunity to maybe bounce back. And I know, we know Noah is going to just kind of grind out the rest of the season, and he's going to be a threat, for sure.
Yep, that's for sure.
In our 5th slot, losing 1 position, even though he won this week, because we've had some other big movers, is the Jamestown Jolteons in our 5th position. What do you have to say about Peyton and kind of where he's at?
Not much to say. He beat a component everyone thought he was going to beat, and just a solid team around. I think he can build from this week and go into it with a tougher opponent.
Definitely, yeah. Strength of schedule playing a part in kind of where things are falling this week, especially kind of moving into our top 3 and kind of where everybody's laying out. Next up in our top 4, another big mover this week at +4 is Sean in the Edmonton Ice Cubes. We talked about Sean. Usually he starts slow, but week 1 and he's in the top 4. Great to see. Anything you want to talk more about the Edmonton Ice Cubes, DJ?
Not much. I knew he was going to be good coming into the season. Had a pretty good first game, and that's scary to think, considering I don't think he's ever won his first game.
Yeah, in 3 seasons of playing, already starting with his foot on the gas. A team that didn't move, and that I can talk to ad nauseum, but we're not going to, in the 3rd slot is the Minnesota Mamoswine. I think I got a good win this week against a good team, and I didn't drop, and I didn't move anywhere, and I think that's okay. I'm excited to kind of get into divisional play now that I got my interconference game taken care of. And then, really the next 6 weeks are going to be awesome to be able to play against, or I guess the next 5 weeks or however it works out, to play against our conference and our division. And I'm excited to see if I can stay in the top 3.
Yeah, pretty much nailed it. I think you're good where you're at and can only move up, really.
Definitely. Another big mover for this week, jumping up 4 slots, is the Lottie Daddies getting that big win over Kalamazoo. Quincy, obviously, we know how great of a team builder he is, and getting a win against Garrett, who is a perennial power, I think is definitely a great way to start your season. And we know how dangerous he's going to be, and definitely deserving of a top spot.
Yeah, he definitely deserved it. He came out running, and he kept that. I won't be surprised if he keeps that running going into week 2.
Yeah, he gets the interconference. Nope, that was last. No, yeah, this is interconference game this week against you. So, and ironically enough, the last
1 and 2
last team on the board this week is the Laughlin Laurantis in that first position. So yeah, we get a heavy hitter matchup with, like you said, team 1 and team 2 in the standings playing against each other in the interconference game. Anything to add about kind of where you're sitting or where your head's at for moving into week 2?
You guys are making me too high. Considering the last singles we did, I wasn't even like the top half, even if I made playoffs. But I think my game against Lottie Dotties are probably going to be the game of the week, and it's probably going to be close. Absolutely. And whoever brings the more obscure set on just one of the mons is probably going to win that game.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to watch that game and kind of see how things go. And I think, DJ, you gotta remember that you drafted kind of a meme team in the last time that we played singles, and that's why you started so slow. But
still got me to the playoffs. That's all that matters.
It did. You made it to the playoffs with a team that probably shouldn't have made it. So that, give yourself some credit, bud. You're doing well. I think you deserve that number 1 spot. And we'll have an awesome matchup with Laughlin and the Lottie Daddies playing against each other this week. Any final thoughts before we wrap up here, DJ?
It's just a good first week. I expect the second week to be better. All the matchups seem pretty fair and balanced for a week 2 schedule.
Yeah, I'm excited about everything that we're going to see coming up here in week 2. I know, like I said, my game against the Manor Nation is coming up tomorrow night, and we'll have games, moving on throughout the week. So if you're playing, feel free to post something in the Discord, stream your gameplay. We'll get a crowd in there watching, and it's been great to see some of the content, the videos that have been made. So just keep up the good work, everybody, and let's have a great week 2. Bye.
That's good. Keep up the work.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. That's it for me and DJ, and we will see you next week on the next Power Rankings.